Hey everyone, welcome back. Disclosure. This is a build made for after Abyss of Dagath and improves significantly more than. All footage today is using the exact same build intended for the Dagath update but was done on current patch, meaning what you see here today, despite working extremely well, is going to get even better in 2 weeks once the shield changes come to pass. Today's build is best suited for shorter steel path runs. After the update arrives, it will be viable for endurance. Alright, if you've seen my most recent shield changes video and why it's a huge step forward, you'll know that shield recharge delay builds are going to get interesting. Put simply, fast deflection and Vigilante Vigor are going to have -45 and -30% shield recharge delay reduction added to their mod effects. This is the first time we can affect this stat outside of Conclave with mods. I previously covered a Caliban build with Nourish on how it can solve its energy problems and how its crowd control kit worked perfectly for setting up fusion strike zones safely to destroy everything, with Sobek acid shells and Zenistar in 2 places at once. If you're interested in how that build still works, check the video at the top right. Today's video builds off of that concept for a more all-purpose general Caliban build suitable for all game modes, and even endurance. Caliban is a perfect candidate for the shield gate update because of how lethal Progeny works. Combined with Nourish for extra comfort on energy, we now have an efficient frame with massive amounts of tanking capability. The biggest drawback for lethal Progeny has always been that 1. Expensive to maintain, solved by Nourish. 2. Lack of shield tankiness to take advantage of regen rate, improved by shield all resist, being increased from 25 to 50% damage reduction after Abyss of Dagath. And 3. Long recharge delay windows and non-scaling shield gate duration, which makes you easier to kill, which are both fixed and buffed with recharge delay mods and shield gate duration now scaling with max shields reached since last break. While lethal Progeny could bypass recharge delay with Augur and brief respite, these mods did not allow natural shield regen to begin early. Our goal today is to lessen the quality of life burden Caliban has, make shields begin recharging faster without always relying on Augur and brief respite, grant longer iframes, and open up the energy economy for spammier ability cast setups. I want to talk about the new shield gate duration chart. It is known that you need to reach 325 shields to receive 1.3 seconds shield gate on your next break. This implies that if you can reliably restore 325 shields in your iframes, then you can consistently generate a 1.3 seconds shield gate. This also means that the sooner your shields start recharging, the more iframe time there is for your shields to recharge before your HP can be hit. You can reach 325 shields with brief respite and Augur sets on ability spam, but this is unnecessary, because lethal Progeny also regenerates shields. On a full break, your natural shield regen takes 4 seconds to kick in. If you still have shields remaining, it takes 1 second to kick in. Natural recharge delay does not apply to lethal Progeny and will instantly start regenerating shields so long as your shields are not 0. Therefore, when your shields hit 0, we can use a combination of brief respite or Augur sets to jumpstart a little bit of shields to instantly activate lethal Progeny's shield regeneration rate bypassing the recharge delay. This lets you easily hit 325 shields without needing to rely on Catalyzing Shields. This also lets you reach much higher shields in the long run, since lethal Progeny is able to produce 1200 overshields on top of your normal max shields as well, which will force a 2.5 seconds shield gate when you pass 1150 shields total. We can also further minimize the window for mistakes by equipping fast deflection and Vigilante Vigor together. This forces the full break natural recharge delay to be only 1.54 seconds, or shorter than our 2.5 seconds shield gate. Therefore, even if you forget to cast an ability when your shield breaks, you're very likely to start regenerating shields before your HP can be hit. These 2 mods also lower the recharge delay of partial shields to just 0.385 seconds, meaning if enemies stop damaging you for even just a moment, so long as your shields are not 0, they will immediately begin recharging as well, plus lethal Progeny. Fast Deflection and Vigilante Vigor also speed up the raw recharge rate of shields themselves by plus 150%. The final result is a frame build with lots of crowd control and auto-viral priming from Nourish AoE on yourself and sentient specters. Spectres de-aggroing for you, multiple ways to jumpstart shields, a very short delay to recharge shields naturally, even if you don't jumpstart, and also very long shield gate iframe windows. Do make sure to cast Nourish after you spawn all 3 Progeny. You could even combine this with Vazarin's Guardian Break if you wanted to do Endurance, though it actually isn't necessary as you'll soon see. There are two variants of this setup today, depending on how much you want to cast Fusion Strike for 100% lingering AoE defense strip. Yes, Fusion Strike permanently removes all armor and shields from any enemy. This includes Acolytes and Demlists, and demos cannot pulse it off. For today's build, your main decision for Archon Shards is between casting speed, energy max, or strength shards. The build needs at most plus 9% strength if you don't use Matterize plus 40% sling strength buff. 2 shards for casting speed are lightly recommended if you don't use Matterize power chance for cast buff or natural talent. A single blue Archon Shard for energy max is optional, because Caliban naturally has 190 energy max post-update. You will want an energy max of at least 200 to guarantee you will always be able to fully reset rotations no matter what. However, if you stagger your lethal progeny cast 10 seconds apart each instead of all 3 at once, you don't even need an energy max increase at all. The build has one mod flex slot to decide between Equilibrium, Flow, or Augur secrets, and one arcane flex slot for either Arcane Energize or Arcane Aegis. This means you can pick and choose based off the Archon Shard options I mentioned, instead of needing them all. Zenerate can also offset the need for a blue Archon Shard energy max completely as well. Now let's look at that Caliban build. This is the build where you don't need to cast Fusion Strike as often. It's good for survival or endurance and when you have a gun that can hold its own. Adaptation is only useful here for shorter Steel Path runs and is a bonus flex slot for Equilibrium, Natural Talent, or Flow in Endurance, whatever of the missing ones you prefer. If you're playing this build in Disruption where there are less enemies around and thus also less pet assist health orbs and less energy orbs, or using a weapon in that requires defense strip from Fusion Strike to function, then I would recommend slotting primed Flow over Equilibrium and Energize over Aegis. Aegis gives a double safety net but is not required for this build to function because recharge rate is so high, and recharge delay after the update drops will be so low. You might notice this build does not use Redirection, and there's a good reason for that. The goal of this build is to regenerate shields at least as fast as you tank damage to reach a sort of equilibrium. This means so long as shields are at equilibrium and don't move much, then increasing max shields is pointless. Lethal Progeny can grant overshields, and that's 1200 extra at max. Caliban will have 650 base shields after the update, letting you reach 1850 shield cap overall. This is way more than enough to cap out the 2.5 seconds shield gate from 1150. 1850 shield cap is also enough leeway for when shit really hits the fan for you to realize you'll need to shield gate and rolling guard. More importantly, natural shield regen rate scales off of modded shield maximum as well, using this equation. At 650 shields only, and fast deflection plus Vigilante Vigor for plus 150% recharge rate, your shields naturally restore 119 per second without lethal progeny. This build will always have at least 164 strength, whether from strength shards or Matterize, etc. 164 is required to full strip with Fusion Strike in one cast when corrosive projection is present. If I assume only 164, then lethal progeny restores 41 shields per second. You can spawn up to 3, and the regen rate stacks linearly for 3 times as much or 123 shields per second. That means, including your natural regen rate, you restore 242 shields per second. Your shield gate will be 2.5 seconds. Fast Deflection and Vigilante Vigor lowers your shield recharge delay to 1.54 seconds. In that 0.96 seconds gap, you will regenerate 232 shields. Also, if you have any Augur mods on your loadout, be it 2 on your pistol or 2 on your Sentinel's burst laser pistol, or replacing Stretch with Augur Reach, then casting an any ability will restore a small amount of shield. This small amount of shield is enough to put you above 0, meaning lethal progeny is immediately allowed to start regenerating shield. Even if your natural shield regen delay is still not complete, you will easily pass 325 shields this way, meaning even if your shields break again early, it should be at least 1.3 seconds shield gate just like it is now so long as you keep moving. We now have Arcane Aegis for non-energized setups to help, since a shield tank build is expected to receive many hits during your sustain. Do keep in mind that we have range modded on because Nourish stuns in an AoE when you get hit, as well as granting viral damage, but with a 2-second cooldown. This further helps you regen some shields as needed from lethal progeny and natural regen. Rolling guard is there for iframes against Acolyte or Demless, but also to remove status effects that could otherwise prevent your natural shield regen from occurring due to recharge delay. Duration is important via prime continuity and multi-efficiency because Progeny have a base duration of 25 seconds and are annoying to triple recast. They snapshot buffs on cast, so you only need to make sure your shields have not broken fully in the past 6 seconds when you cast them for max multi-efficiency plus 36% buff. This increases their base duration to 41 seconds each. It also allows your fusion strike to last 25 seconds for a much comfier persistent defense strip. You also have the option to use Umbral Intensify instead of Transient Fortitude to save an extra 27.5 duration for Progeny and Fusion Strike, but do keep in mind this will require 2 Power Strength Archon Shards instead of just 1 if you're not using Vazarin. My companion is still using a stock Panzer build for Equilibrium since set synergy via viral quills to both buff my damage and spawn a ton of health orbs. Sentinels can also work well here if you need them to hold Augur mods if you're using a DPS pistol setup. There's a lot of freedom, and with the upcoming pet changes, Sentinels will auto-revive after 25 seconds even if you do nothing to help them with bond mods, due to primed regen as well, cutting them down to just 25. Basically, take whatever guns and melee you want with this Caliban. The sky's the limit. Cheers! If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or, better yet, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like we'll be doing with the Abyss of Dagath update. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? And that'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.